Rupa Goswami's disappearance day. Rupa Goswami is considered to be the main Acharya in our Sampradaya. So we are all called Rupanugas. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's principal disciple was the six Goswamis, and Rupa Goswami is the head of the six Goswamis. So Rupa Goswami, what he established the foundation of our Sampradaya. Based on that, the Krishna conscious movement is created. So this is a song glorifying Sri Rupa Goswami, page number 60, called Shri Rupa Manjari Pada. Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, Sai Mora Sampada, Sai Mora Bhajana Pujana, Sai Mora Sampada, Sai Mora Bhajana Pujana, Sai Mora Pragadana, Sai Mora Aparana, Sai Mora Jivanira Jivana, Sai Mora Paradana, Sai Mora Paradana, Sai Mora Sai Mora Rasanidhi, Sai Mora Panchasiddhi, Sai Mora Vedanta Rama, Sai Mora Rasanidhi, Sai Mora Panchasiddhi, Sai Mora Sai Brata Sai Tapa, Sai Mora Mantra Japa, Sai Mora Dharma Karama, Sai Brata Sai Tapa, Sai Mora Mantra Japa, Sai Mora Anukula Bhave Vidhi, Sevade Koi Vesiti, Niragi Bo Ei Tui Nayane, Anukula Vidhi, Sevade Koi Vesiti, Niragi Bo Ei Tui Rupa Manjari Pada, Rupa Madhuri Rashi, Prana Kubalaya Shashi, Prapulita Bhavinishiti Re, Rupa Madhuri Rashi, Prana Kubalaya Shashi, Karshanayi, Karale Jano Dehi, Shiratina Napita Jivana, Maharupa Koroloya, Eho More Padachaya, Narottama Laila Shayana, Maharupa Koroloya, Eho More Padachaya, Narottama Laila Shayana, Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, Shri Mora Sampada, Shri Mora Bhajana Purana, Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, Shri Mora Sampada, Shri Mora Bhajana Purana. Guru Swami ki jai. Can you sing one more bhajan? Looks like this. Radha Krishna Prana Mohan Yukata Kishore. This is page 60.
60.
60, yeah. मुझे यहाँ पे okay, you're not able to there's no mic. Radha Krishna Prana Kishore, Radha Krishna Prana Kishore, Radha Krishna Prana दीवाने मराने का हार नहीं हो जीवने मरणे गति हार नहीं हो जीवने मरणे गति हार नहीं हो राधा कृष्ण प्यार युगला किशोर हरिंद्र तूने के लिए कदम मेरा माना हरिंद्र तूने कदम मेरा माना रतना बेदीरा ऊपर वो सब तू जाना रतना बेदीरा राधा कृष्ण प्यार मोरा युगला किशोर श्यामा गौरी अंगे दीपो चंदनेरा गंधा चमरा डुलाबो कबे हेरी मुख चंद्रा चमरा डुलाबो कबे हेरी मुख चंद्रा राधा कृष्ण प्यार मोरा युगला किशोर राधा कृष्ण प्यार मोरा युगला किशोर रतिया माला तीर माला दीपो तोहर गाले रतिया माला तीर माला दीपो तोहर गाले अदरे तुलिया दीपो कर्पूर तंबूरे 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 राधा कृष्ण प्यार मोरा युगला किशोर राधा कृष्ण प्यार मोरा युगला किशोर ललिता विशाखा आदि जट सखी वृंद ललिता विशाखा आदि जट सखी वृंद आज्ञाय करिबो सेवा चरणारविंद आज्ञाय करिबो सेवा चरणारविंद आज्ञाया करिबो सेवा चरणारविंद
आज्ञाया करिबो सेवा चरणारविंद
राधा कृष्ण प्यार मोर युगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दासी अनुदास
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दासे अनुदास
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दासी अनुदास
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दासे अनुदास
सेवा अभिलाष कोरे नरोत्तम दास
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 राधा कृष्ण प्यार मोर युगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोर युगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः पंकजनाभाय पंकजमालिने नमो पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजाग्रये हरे कृष्ण So welcome all of you all for the Srimad Bhagavatam chapter wise overview series. We are nearing the end of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So today we are going to discuss chapter 18, which is the second last chapter of this canto called Maharaj Parikshit cursed by the Brahmana boy. As I told you, I'm sorry I didn't make the presentation today. So the shlokas are not going to be on the screen. So those who have the Bhagavatam copy can recite the shlokas, others can just hear. Next one. सुत उवाच
सुत उवाच
यो वै द्रोणी अस्त्रविक्लुष्टो न मातोरुदरे मृता अनुग्रहात् भगवता कृष्णास्याद्भुतकर्मणा. So this particular chapter is begun by Sutta Goswami. So Sutta Goswami says here, Anugrahat Bhagavata, by the mercy of Lord Krishna, Parikshit Maharaj, who was in the womb of his mother, we heard this story before in the previous chapter, and being in the womb of his mother, he was struck by the Brahmastra of ACHYUT. But this Parikshit was destined to be killed, was saved. Why? Because of Krishna's mercy. Anugrahat Bhagavata. And Sutta Goswami says, Krishna's Adbhuta Karmana. So someone may say, how can Krishna protect someone from Brahmastra? For Krishna, nothing is difficult. Krishna can do anything. So therefore, Krishna's activities are called Adbhuta Karmana. Krishna's activities are all wonderful. So Sutta Goswami in this way says, Parikshit was protected in the womb by his by the weapon of Brahmastra by the mercy of Lord Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, the sages of Naimisharanya were very wonderstruck hearing the activities of Parikshit. We saw the previous two chapters, chapter 16 and 17, were the activities of Parikshit. And why they were wonderstruck? Because Parikshit was able to protect his kingdom from the influence of Kali. Even though Kali had started, still Parikshit was so powerful that he was able to protect. So Sutta Goswami here explains here that activities of such pure devotees like Parikshit are as wonderful as Krishna's activities. Krishna's activities are wonderful. Similarly, Krishna's devotees, their activities are also wonderful. So in this way, Sutta Goswami, before he begins this chapter of Parikshit's death, how Parikshit is cursed, he is speaking a little about Parikshit Maharaj. Text 2. Brahma Kapotitadyastu Akshatan Prana Viplavan Na Sammohoru Bhayan Bhagavati Arpatashahya. So here it says, this Parikshit Maharaj, in the first verse, what was explained, that Parikshit was saved in the womb by the weapon of Brahmastra by the mercy of Krishna. So that same Parikshit, now he is cursed that he will die in 7 days, bit by a snake bird. Takshatat Prana Viplavat. The name of the snake bird was Takshaka. So Parikshit is cursed. Brahma Kopitat, a Brahmana will curse him, and Parikshit will die. So someone may say, Parikshit was protected in the womb by Lord Krishna. That was Krishna's mercy, Anugraha. Now Parikshit is destined to die. What is this? So Prabhupada writes here, this is also Krishna's blessing. So this is the beauty of Bhagavatam. It's not that only when things are good we say that this is Krishna's mercy. Even when things are bad, if you are advanced, then you should be able to say that this is also Krishna's mercy. That's the point that Bhagavatam is teaching us. Right? Situations are not in our hands. How we deal with situations, what is the Bhagavatam's response to situations, that's what we are going to learn. So therefore, this particular chapter and the next chapter is very important for all of us. Parikshit was cursed in some way. We all have our own curses and our own problems. And many times, Parikshit, if you see in one sense, there was an injustice done to him. I mean, he did one small act, but the curse is too heavy. The reaction is too heavy. So in one sense, it was quite unfair and injustice done to him. But Parikshit is teaching all of us that how does a devotee respond in these situations. So Srila Prabhupada writes here, in the verse says, Na sammo mohuru bhaya. Parikshit was neither afraid, you can put your mobile phone silent. Parikshit Maharaj neither was afraid nor overwhelmed. When he was cursed, he was neither afraid nor overwhelmed. There is a verse in the Bhagavatam. The words, Shivji is telling this verse to Parvati Maya. The context of this verse is like this. There was a great devotee of the Lord called Chitraketu Maharaj. If you all I mean, where the first canto, the cantos are the story of Chitraketu comes. So Chitraketu Maharaj was a great devotee of the Lord. So one time he had a Pushpak Viman, he had an airplane that he would travel around the world. So he was sitting in his airplane and going around, and his airplane reached the Kailash region. And what did he see? He saw Shiva giving a talk on Vairagya to sadhus. And Parvati was sitting on Shiva's lap. I mean, only Shiva can do this. Right? Give a talk on Vairagya with wife sitting on the lap. So Chitraketu from the airplane, he slightly smiled. That only such a personality like Shiva can do this. Who else can do this? But Parvati thought that Chitraketu is laughing at my husband. So Parvati cursed Chitraketu that you become a demon. I curse you. So in one sense, if you see Parikshit, injustice was done to him. Chitraketu, injustice was done. But Chitraketu comes down from the airplane and comes and seeks the blessings of Parvati Maya and tells her that please bless me so that I can become a demon. And he just goes away from there. After this, Parvati is so wonderstruck. Who are these people? She is asking Shiva. Who are these people? They are not even scared for becoming a demon. So that time, Lord Shiva explains a verse whose meaning Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport. The verse is like this: Narayana parasarve nagutasthana bibhyati swarga apavarga narakeshu apitulyat darshanam. This is the verse of Shiva. And Shiva is glorifying the devotees of Vishnu. Narayana parasarve. Those devotees who have made Narayana as their goal. Nagutasthana bibhyati. Such devotees are neither bewildered nor scared. And for such devotees, Swarga Apavarga Narakeshu, whether they are in heaven, hell or liberated, everything is same for them because their attention is completely at the lotus feet of Krishna. So Prabhupada writes here, for such surrendered souls like Parikshit Maharaj, like Chitraketu Maharaj, they are neither afraid of any place, person nor even death. Because they understand that hell or heaven, both are conditions created by the Lord, places created by the Lord. Similarly, life and death is also something created by the Lord. So why do we resist one and accept the other? So pure devotees just accept everything as Krishna's grace. And Prabhupada writes here, Parikshit Maharaj, he never goes against the will of the Lord. And Prabhupada says here, a devotee never goes against the will of the Lord and he sees anything sent by God as a blessing of God. This is what Bhagavatam teaches us. It's not that only good things are blessings of God. Even when something bad happens to us, we have to understand that these are also blessings of God. Just that we are not able to understand it at this point. Right? Just like a father takes a child and tells the doctor, give him injection. The child may think my father is a demon, he is giving pain to me. But the father knows that this injection is needed so that the child doesn't suffer further. So similarly, Krishna is like that father. Sometimes he sends soft love, tough love, different ways. But Krishna's love is always there. Even when punishment is coming in our life, that is also Krishna's love. We have to accept, we have to at least rejoice in the fact that Krishna is loving us and Krishna is purifying us. That's the way Parikshit takes this whole episode. Text 3. Utsrija sarvata sangam vidyajita samstiti Vaiyasakir jaho shishyo Gangayam swam kalevaram. So, when Parikshit got this news that he will die in 7 days, what did Parikshit do? Hare Krishna. Today is a challenging day. We are speaking about reverses. Things are not under our control. टॉर्च बस उसको बंद मत कर मुझे टॉर्च दे दो you all can hear me?
Yes.
Something very interesting when this you all can hear me at the back?
Yes.
When Sutta Goswami, recently we were in Naimisharanya, I mean we had gone for the yatra. Any devotees here? Mataji was there. Naimisharanya. Mataji was there. So when we went to Naimisharanya, this episode that happens in Naimisharanya, Sutta Goswami is speaking to Shaunakadi Rishi. You know how many sages were there? 88,000 sages sitting in front of Sutta Goswami. And the beauty is there was no sound system. Everyone is hearing. There's no mention of sound system there, na? So if you are very attentive, you'll be able to hear. You can hear me at the back?
Yes.
I'll just continue. So, uh, so here the word is Utsrija. As soon as Parikshit uh, got this news that he will die in Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So as soon as Parikshit Maharaj got the news that he will die in 7 days, what did Parikshit Maharaj do? Utsrija. He just gave up. To give up is not easy. How he could give up immediately? I mean, even for someone to wrap up, it takes time. I mean, he's a king. To wrap up his business, he just did it immediate. Because that mood of Vairagya was already there in him. His bag was already packed in one sense. Utsrija Sarvata Sangam. He just gave up all association at once. Vigyajita Samstiti. And what did he do? He surrendered to Krishna. He understood Krishna properly. So here Prabhupada says the word Ajita. Krishna's one name is Ajita. What does Ajita mean? One who cannot be conquered. Is there anyone who has conquered Krishna? No one has conquered Krishna. So Prabhupada explains here, what does this also mean? That Krishna cannot be conquered even with your knowledge and intelligence. Your knowledge and intelligence is not enough to understand Krishna. So this Krishna, who is difficult to be understood even through knowledge and the Vedas. In the Brahma Samhita there is a verse, Prabhupada explains the meaning of that. Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto. This is Brahmaji speaking. Brahmaji is the one who has compiled all the Vedas. But Brahmaji says, Vedeshu durlabham. To understand Krishna through the Vedas is difficult. But how Krishna is able to be understood? Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto. That Krishna, who is difficult to be understood through the Vedas, through Jnana, is very easily understood through pure devotees of Krishna. So therefore Parikshit, he understood Krishna who is unconquerable. How? Vaiyasakir Jaho Shishyo. He became the disciple of Vaiyasakiya Shukadeva Goswami. So Prabhupada writes, this is the system of understanding Krishna properly. Lord Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, Tatvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshan. So Krishna's system is, if you want to understand him, then what you have to do? Approach a pure devotee who is in parampara, sit under his feet, become his disciple. So here Parikshit, who is already a great devotee, Parikshit has already seen Krishna in the womb. So someone who has seen Krishna, why does he need a guru? You need a guru to see Krishna. Parikshit has already seen Krishna. Why does he need a guru? This is the system that anyone and everyone needs a proper guru who is in parampara. Vaiyasake jago shishyo gangayam swam kalevaram. And where does Parikshit meet Shukadeva Goswami? We will see in the next chapter. There is a place called Shukatal. So now also, sometime Krishna willing, we will go there on a yatra. When you go from Delhi towards Haridwar on road, in between you find this place very close to Meerut called Shukatal. That's where Parikshit Maharaj heard Bhagavatam from Shukadeva Goswami. So Prabhupada explains all this purport in the purport that Krishna was unconquerable and easily understood through pure devotees of Krishna. Those who have understood Krishna properly in parampara. Text 4. Nottama shloka vartana Shutam tat katamritam Syat sambramo antakaleti Smaratam tat padambujam. So someone may say, how can one remember Krishna at the time of death? Ultimate perfection of life is what? Just like Lord Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter, 5th verse, Antakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram. How we should live life? At the end of our life, we should be able to think of Krishna. So now Parikshit is at the end of his life, fag end of his life. He wants to think of Krishna. So here it says, how can one think of Krishna? Nottama shloka vartanam Shatam tat katamritam. So those who are dedicated their lives, dedicating the life to Krishna means what? dedicating the life to hearing the topics of Krishna. Yushatam tat katamritam. Yushata means fully engaged in what? Hearing the nectar of Krishna's pastimes. So this is what Parikshit did. Parikshit was the most intelligent person. What did he do? The final moment of his life, the final days of his life, he spent hearing about Krishna. This is the real nectar that we are looking for. So here the word is Kata Amrita. What does Amrita mean? What does Amrita mean? Nectar. Amrita also has another meaning. Amrita. Mrita means death. Amrita means eternal life. So Parikshit is about to face death, Mrita. In order to make that Mrita into Amrita, what he takes? He hears Krishna. So for people who are about to die and who want to attain liberation, eternal life, the medicine is Bhavaushadhat. The medicine for people who are about to die is Krishna Katha. Kulashekar Maharaj, one of the great acharyas of the South Indian Shri Sampradaya, one of the 12 Arvats, he explains a very beautiful words. He says, Idam Shariram Parinama Peshalam Patatyavasham Shatasandhi Jarjaram Kimoshadam Prichasi Mooda Durmate Niramayam Krishna Rasayanam Piba. Rasayana is a tonic, right? So just like you have a disease, you take a tonic. So Kulashekar Maharaj says this body which is destined to die, in order to save this body from the cycle of birth and death, what is the tonic? Krishna Rasayanam Piba. Please drink the nectar of Krishna. And how do you drink this nectar? Through the ears. So Parikshit Maharaj is hearing about Krishna, and because he is hearing about Krishna, Syat Sambramo Antakalepi, he is not even bewildered at the final moment of time. I mean, if you give someone the news that you're going to live for only so long, 1 month left, 2 months left, it's a very bewildering situation. Someone who gets this news, very confused. But Parikshit didn't lose his balance because he was drinking the nectar of Krishna Katha. Smaratam tat padham bhujam. He was continuously remembering the lotus feet of Krishna. So Prabhupada again says here the same point. The submissive disciple, I'm reading the sentence. Thus a submissive disciple is able to live transcendentally and continue to the end of his life. So if we become a submissive disciple, learn from a proper authorized guru, then you can become transcendental even in this material world. And this is what we are supposed to do. And Prabhupada says this is called scientific adaptation. What is adaptation? When Darwin explained the theory of adaptation, what is adaptation? You have a certain desire and then you adapt your body like that. Right? Based on mind, the body changes. Right? Mind creates new bodies. So similarly, if you want a spiritual body, your mind has to be spiritual. So therefore, smaratam tat padham bhujam. Parikshit trained himself in such a way that his mind was constantly absorbed in Krishna. Therefore, we have this Navvidha Bhakti, and Navvidha Bhakti starts with Shravanam. After Shravanam, there is Kirtanam, then Smaranam. So that means the more we hear about Krishna, the more we speak about Krishna, remembrance of Krishna will come automatically. Text 5. Tavat kalirna prabhave pravishto piha sarvata javat isho mahan urvya abhimanyava ekara. As long as the son of Abhimanyu, Parikshit, Ekara was the emperor of the world, there was no chance for Kali to enter. So these words we have already seen. Tavat yavat, as long as, till then. So we saw the previous chapter. As long as Parikshit was the king, Kali couldn't enter. So we saw in the previous chapter, Parikshit gave 5 places to Kali. Right? What are the 5 places Parikshit gave? Anyone knows? Where there is illicit connection with women, intoxication, gambling, meat eating, and gold. But we saw that Parikshit was such a powerful ruler that Parikshit didn't give any scope for Kali. So Kali understood the only way out is remove Parikshit, eject Parikshit. That's what happens in politics, na? जो बीच में काटा है उसको निकालो. So Kali knew that this fellow is not going to allow me. So the best is remove Parikshit. And Kali started to do his activities. And how did Kali act? Kali entered into the Brahmana. And through this Brahmana, Parikshit was cursed strongly and Parikshit was out. And that's how Kali entered. So Prabhupada explains here, this is already explained previously, that during the time of Maharaj Parikshit, no chance for Kali to enter. He was such a powerful administrator. Text 6. Yasmin Ahani Yariyeva Bhagavan Utsrajagam Tadaivanu Ratosam Adharma Prabhava Kali. We discussed this also. The very day the Supreme Personality of Godhead left this world, Yasmin Ahani Yariyeva Bhagavan Utsrajagam. The day Lord Krishna left the earth, Ram refers to earth, that same day Kali started. And what is Kali? Adharma Prabhavaha Kali. How is Kali defined? Kali is one who promotes irreligion. Krishna is one who promotes dharma. That's why Krishna says dharma samsthapanarthaya. Krishna comes to promote dharma and Kali comes to promote adharma. So, this is a very, very important point Prabhupada is making here. Prabhupada is making a brilliant point. What's the point here? The point is, as soon as Krishna left, Kali entered. What's the lesson for all of us? That means, if you want to stay away from Kali, who should be there in your life? Krishna. As soon as Krishna will leave your life, Kali will enter. We see in the Ramayana, similar example. In the Ramayana, when Lord Ram, Sita Maya, Lakshman, they were there in Nasik, Panchavati, and Ravana sends Maricha as the golden deer. And in order to get that golden deer, Sita tells Ram, go and get me the golden deer. And she sends Ram away. Okay? She sent, Ram was there next to her. She sent Ram away. As soon as Ram went away, who came in her life? Ravan entered. That's the whole idea. How do we fall in illusion? How do we get trapped? As soon as Krishna goes out of a picture, we allow space for Kali to enter. Because when Krishna is there, or Krishna's representatives are there, Kali cannot enter. So, that's the point Prabhupada is saying here. So, Prabhupada is saying here, it's not that we can't apply this verse in today's situation. So, Prabhupada is saying, the lesson is, similarly, if there is arrangement for constant chanting of the holy names, qualities of the personality of Godhead, there is no chance for the personality of Kali to enter. That's what we are supposed to do. If we want to get rid from all the adharma, we have to have more and more direct Krishna consciousness, discussing Krishna Katha, Krishna Kirtan. If this is there, then Kali's influence will not be there. And that's the whole idea that SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM is meant to be propagated by kings, that Prabhupada explained in the previous chapters, so that there can be more and more dharma in this world. Text 7. Nanu dveshti kalim samrat Saranga iva sarabu Kushalani ashu siddhyanti Netrani kritani yat. Parikshit Maharaj, he is called a Saranga. Saranga is basically, Prabhupada translates it as a realist, or Saranga is also a bee. A bee is called Saranga because bee drinks nectar from each of the flowers. So what does the bee do? Bee is basically drinking that essence. What is the essence of a flower? Nectar. So the bee drinks that. Similarly, Parikshit was Saranga, and Sarabuk, he was only deriving the essence. We discussed this the last time. Kali Yuga has lot of faults. The list of faults in Kali Yuga is endless. But Kali Yuga has one good quality. And what is the good quality? Just by doing Krishna's, chanting of Krishna's holy name, one can get liberated, one can attain Krishna. So Parikshit chose to focus on that essence. So like Parikshit, we have to become Saranga. We have to be essence seeking. What is the essence? Faults are there in everyone, everywhere. But what is the essence for me? What is the thing that I can use for me to progress in spiritual life is what we have to see. So Parikshit was seeking that essence. Even in the situation when he is cursed, he is seeking that essence. He could be cribbing about the situation, he could be cursing the Lord, but he saw that essence that now it's an opportunity for me to get detached. So similarly, Parikshit saw that essence. And here it says, Parikshit saw also one good quality of Kali Yuga. One thing is that in Kali Yuga, chanting the holy names, one can get Krishna. Another good quality of Kali Yuga is, in the previous yugas, If you think about a sinful activity, you get papa. You get a reaction. But in Kali Yuga, only when you commit a sin, you get reaction. So that is the good part of Kali Yuga. I mean, if every thought also had a reaction, then in Kali Yuga everyone is gone. So the good part of Kali Yuga is if you can deal at the level of the thought and see that it doesn't come to action, you are saved. So Parikshit, because he knew the disadvantages of Kali Yuga, but he knew that the age is Kali Yuga, I can't fight with this age too long. He chose to focus on the advantages of that age. We give this example. One time there was a teacher, she came to the classroom, it was a blackboard. She drew a line and she told the students, now reduce this line without rubbing it. How do you do it? The children came, one intelligent boy, he came and drew a bigger line. That's the way to deal with life. Right? Because rubbing duster is always not in our hand. If duster was in your hand, you would have rubbed. Situations come in our life, are you able to remove it? You are not able to remove it, you can't remove it. What you can do, you can draw a bigger solution in such a way that this doesn't seem visible at all. Right? So that's what we are supposed to do. So Parikshit Maharaj, as an ideal devotee, he could see the advantages of Kali Yuga. And Prabhupada says it is because of these advantages of Kali Yuga that sometimes even sages worship Kali Yuga. Kushalani ashu siddhyanti. Kushalani matlab, Parikshit was not envious of Kali, rather he was thinking that Kali Yuga is good. Because people can practice bhakti in a very short span and go back to the spiritual world. So that's the idea of SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, that when we focus on the advantages of Kali Yuga, advantage of the situation, and focus on Krishna consciousness, then the problems of Kali will become very small. The line will become very small. Right? So if you are getting bewildered by the problems of Kali Yuga, the only thing that we have to do, anytime you see anything wrong going on in Kali Yuga, the only thing that you have to learn and the only inspiration you have to get is, I have to draw the line of Krishna consciousness longer. I have to preach more. That's the only inspiration that we have to get. That's what Parikshit did. Text 8. Kimnu baleshu surena Kalina dhira gorina Apramatta pramatteshu Yogrgo drishtu vartate. So Parikshit knew who will get affected by Kali Yuga. Kimnu baleshu surena. So he knew that people who are less intelligent and people who don't have control, they will get influenced by Kali Yuga. And Parikshit knew that people who are intelligent and people who are self-controlled, they will not get influenced. Therefore, and what does intelligence mean? Intelligence, it is explained, this is the first canto of Bhagavatam, towards the end, later canto of the shloka comes. Krishna varnam trisam krishnam sangopangar saparshadam yagge sankirtana praye jajantihi sumedasa. Medasa is intelligent. Sumedasa is very intelligent. So in Kali Yuga, what will very intelligent people do? They will worship Krishna through the Sankirtan process that Mahaprabhu has started. Today is the disappearing day of Srila Rupa Goswami. 500 years ago, Rupa Goswami was there on this planet. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, they were brothers. The most intelligent people, they had studied every scripture, and what they did, they fully surrendered to Mahaprabhu's mission. So this is what Parikshit knew, that intelligent people will not get bewildered by Kali Yuga. And here this intelligence doesn't refer to material intelligence. Here the intelligence refers to taking shelter of Krishna. That's what is real intelligence. So King Parikshit was like a powerful lion, and he was ready to protect innocent, foolish people from getting influenced by Kali Yuga. That's what Parikshit was doing. Text 9. Upavarnitam etadva punyam parikshitam maya Vasudeva katopetam Akyanam yat aprachata. So Sutta Goswami says, Akyanam yat aprachata. My dear sages, Shaunakadi Rishi, whatever you all have asked me about Parikshit Maharaj, Punya Parikshitam Maya, the story of Parikshit Maharaj. They had asked about the birth of Parikshit, the life of Parikshit, and the death of Parikshit. The birth of Parikshit, one chapter dedicated, two chapters for the activities of Parikshit. Now, in one or two shlokas, Sutta Goswami wrapped up his death. He said, yeah, I've explained everything. Whatever you have asked me, I've explained. And now, here he says, Vasudeva Katopetam. So, this history of Parikshit is in connection with Krishna. So, Prabhupada writes here, what is Srimad Bhagavatam? Srimad Bhagavatam basically is the activities of Krishna, activities of the Lord. But because the activities of the Lord are always in connection with the devotees, so therefore Srimad Bhagavatam is also about the activities of devotees. So Bhagavatam is history about Krishna Leela and the activities of his devotees. So both are considered to be Krishna Gatha, both are considered to be on the equal level. So in this way, Sutta Goswami tells the sages that I have, as far as my knowledge goes, I have explained everything. Text 10. Yaya Kata Bhagavata Tatayinoru Karmana Guna Karmashaya Pumbi Samsevyasta Bhushubhi Yaya Kata Bhagavata Katayinoru Karmana. So Sutta Goswami is saying, whatever activities Krishna has done, Yaya Kata, whatever activities Krishna has done, Katayinoru Karmana, one should be very eager to submissively hear about all the activities. So when it comes to Krishna Leela, one should not be lazy. No shortcuts. One should try to hear everything from the beginning till the end. And we'll find in the example of Parikshit, in the example of the sages, whenever the speaker has shortened Krishna Gatha, these sages have been very quick in asking, please elaborate in detail. Right? So Sutta Goswami is saying, if you are actually serious about Samsevyas to Bhushvi, Samsevya to Bhushvi means if you want to attain complete perfection, if you are desirous to attain complete perfection, then what we should do? We should hear Krishna Gatha at length. Whatever Krishna has done, we should be able to hear. At least that desire, Bhushvi means at least the desire to hear should be here. And Krishna's Leela, Guna Karma Shaya Kumbi, because Krishna's Leelas, Krishna's pastimes are completely wonderful. So Prabhupada writes here, the first sentence Prabhupada writes, beautiful sentence. Prabhupada says, systematic hearing of the transcendental activities, qualities, name of Lord Krishna pushes one towards eternal life. So if you want to be pushed towards eternal life, what do you have to do? Systematic hearing. You have to hear systematically. You have to be patient in this process of hearing. So Parikshit was so patient. He has like 7 days left. He doesn't tell Shukdev Goswami, please speak directly about Krishna Leela or Ras Leela. He's like, whatever Shukdev Goswami is speaking, anything in connection with Krishna is ready to absorb. So this kind of seriousness is needed. So Prabhupada says here, if you have this kind of seriousness about understanding Krishna properly, tattvata, then one can attain perfection. And what does perfection mean? One can attain the spiritual world, one can attain association of Krishna. All that is possible by systematic hearing about Krishna. And we find so many examples in Bhagavatam. Till here, already we have seen. In the beginning of the Bhagavatam, we saw the example of Narad Muni. Like this young boy heard Krishna Gatha, attained perfection. He saw Krishna face to face. We saw the example of the Pandavas, we saw the example of Bhishma, seeing the example of Parikshit. Practically every great devotee who has attained perfection, seeing Krishna face to face, has always done systematic hearing. So let's not underestimate this process, the opportunity that we are given here. This is like a God-given blessing. And we will see the sages of Naimisharanya are so grateful for this association of Sutta Goswami. Text 11. Now Sutta Goswami has almost ended his part till now. Now the sages respond. Text 11. Rishaya Ujuhu Sutta Jiva Samasaumya Shashvatir Vishadam Yasha Yastvam Samshasi Krishnasya Martyanam Amritahina. Oh, these sages are so grateful to hear about Krishna Gatha. So Prabhupada says when this combination is there, what combination? A devotee who's speaking in parampara, and a speaker who's sincere, and the audience who's sincere. When this combination is there, right? A speaker who's speaking proper in parampara, not deviating, and the audience who's very, very receptive, in that audience or in that assembly, one can actually experience the presence of Krishna. Krishna's nectar will be churned out. So these sages are so happy. They say, "O Sutta Goswami, may you live many, many years." So they are saying here, Sutta Jiva Sama Saumya, or Saumya Jiva, or gentle Sutta, may you live for many, many years. So they are blessing. Now a speaker should bless the audience, or the audience should bless the speaker. It's both ways. It's both ways, right? So they are so happy. They are blessing Sutta Goswami, may you live a very long life. Why they want him to live a long life? So they not only tell him that may you live a long life, but may your fame be eternal. Shashwati Vishatam Yasha. So now, when did this episode happen? 5,000 years ago, right? Now 5,000 years later also, we are discussing about Sutta Goswami, Naimisharanya and the sages. Why? Because when one becomes a devotee of Krishna, such devotees are eternally famous. You may have people in this world who are famous for 100 years, 200 years, that's it. But devotees of Krishna are eternally famous. We hear about Prahlad Maharaj. When did that story happen in Satyuga? Crores and millions of years ago. We are hearing about that. So the sages are so happy. They are blessing Sutta Goswami. And why they are blessing? Yastum Shamasi Krishnasya. Why they are blessing him? Because Sutta Goswami, you are speaking very nicely about Krishna. Therefore they are blessing. Right? So they are blessing him. May you live very long life. Mrityanam Amritahina. For people who are about to die, for mortal beings, what you are speaking is real nectar. This is the nectar that we are looking for. So Prabhupada writes here, the more we hear about the transcendental activities of the Lord, the more we can know about His transcendental nature and thus make definite progress back home, back to God. So that's the understanding that the more we hear about Krishna, more and more, Mrityana Amritahina, from the life of temporariness, the abode of death, we can go to that spiritual world where there is no death, that deathless abode basically. Text 12. Karmani asmin anashvashe Dumna dumratmanam balam Duma dumratmanam bhavan Apayati Govinda Pada Padmasvanam Madhu. So, it's a very interesting verse. These sages say, Sutta Goswami, before we met you, we were doing a yajna. And in a yajna, what happens? There is fire, right? And in that fire, there is smoke also, right? So they are telling Sutta Goswami, before we met you, we are doing a yajna, karmani asmin anashvashe. We are doing a yajna, fruitive activity. For karma kand, we are doing a yajna. And this yajna, the problem is two things. When they were doing this yajna, there are two problems. One is smoke. And because of the smoke, Duma Dumrat Manam Bhavan, they have all become black. And the smoke become black, right? So they are saying, we have been doing this yajna before we met you. Only two results we got. One is our body has become black. And second is Anashvashe. There is no certainty of the result of our yajna that we were doing. Now, we have finally found you. Apayati Govinda Pada Padma Swanam Madhu. Now we have finally found you, and now we are engaging in the actual yajna. And this is a smokeless yajna. Just like you have a smokeless chula. This is a smokeless yajna. Right now there is a yajna going on. Is there smoke here? There is no smoke here. Right? But what is the ultimate aim of a yajna? The ultimate aim of a yajna is you should attain Krishna. Right? So this is a yajna going on, no smoke. Generally people get very attracted to yajna. Like in ISKCON you tell devotees there is kirtan, no excitement. But you tell people there is a yajna, people are very excited. Because when people see something boring and something happening, they feel that things are actually moving. But here the sages of Naimisharanya are telling a very important point. when we come in association of pure devotees and when we hear about Krishna, that is real yajna. Pada Padma Swanam Madhu. Madhu again is nectar. Because in this yajna, real nectar is being distributed. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, the yajnas in Kali Yuga especially. So this starts at the start of Kali Yuga, right? This whole discussion starts at the beginning of Kali Yuga. See, in the previous yugas, the process of yajna worked. In Kali Yuga, yajnas don't work. The actual yajnas don't work. Why? First, because there are no proper brahmanas. Right? The brahmanas, they don't know how to chant. One time, there was someone's marriage ceremony going on, and the brahmana was chanting some mantra. And what people understand what mantra it is. Some other guy came running and told him, stop this. Like in filmy style, na? Shadi band karo, stop it. Okay, people are saying why? Because this guy who knew Sanskrit, he was saying, the mantra this brahmana is chanting is sannyas mantra. Chanting for marriage. So for people, really, they have no idea what is being chanted. So Prabhupada is saying, the flaw in Kali Yuga for yajna is, first is, proper brahmanas are not there. And second is, there is no certainty of result. You may spend and do so many things, but the certainty of result is not there. You will remain in doubt whether this yajna has worked or not. But if you perform the yajna of hearing, what happens in a yajna? You have a yajna kund and you put ahuti in it, right? Idam Vishnave, idam Namama. You put ahuti in it, ghee, ahuti, like that. So in Kali Yuga, what is the yajna kund? The ears. Ears is also like a yajna kund. And what is the ahuti? You pour Krishna Gatha in it. That's like pouring ghee in it. So if you do this, there will not be any smoke, your body will not become black, and the advantage is you will be certain for success. You will be certain for success. So in this way, the sages are glorifying Sutta Goswami. You have given us an experience of real yajna. And Prabhupada is saying, just like this is saying in English, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. Right? Once you start to hear about Krishna, you don't need an outside guy to come and give you a certificate. Like if you have eaten food, you don't need a company to come and give you a certificate that your stomach is full. You know you are full. Similarly, you may do other process of dharma, but as soon as you engage in the process of Krishna consciousness, hearing about Krishna, you will feel satisfied. You don't need a certificate from someone else. You will be certain you are on the right path. So in this way, the sages are glorifying Sutta Goswami. You have given us a definite path for progress. Text 13. This is a very beautiful verse. Tulyama lavenapi na swargam na punarbhavam bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kim putashisha. So they are saying, we are so fortunate, Sutta Goswami, to have your association. Why? Tulyam lavenapi. Association of a devotee, even for one moment. Tulyam lavenapi. Lava is actually one, I think it is 1/45th a second, or a small fraction, very fraction of a second. Tulyam lavenapi Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya. So on one hand, this is a comparison. On one hand, you have one moment association of a devotee. On the other hand, on the other scale, you keep Swarga, attainment of heaven, Na Punar Bhavam, that means liberation. So, in comparison to association of devotee, Swarga and liberation also are insignificant. In fact, here it says, value of association, moment's association of a devotee cannot be compared with heaven or even liberation from matter. So that means the greatest thing to get is not even liberation. Greatest thing to get is an association of a devotee, a pure devotee. Tulyanam lavenapi na swargam na punarbhavan bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kim utashisha. So for people who are meant to die, martyanam, the only hope for all of them is association of devotees. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra kahe, Lava Matra, again the word lava. Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi vai. Lava is again one moment association of a pure devotee is enough to attain perfection. So Prabhupada is saying here, when there are similar points you compare, now association of devotee can't be compared with anything else. There is no comparison at all. It's like far superior. So Prabhupada mentions here, see in this world, how do people's mindsets progress? People want enjoyment in this world, right? When they get frustrated with the enjoyment in this world, they want to attain heaven, right? When you feel that this level of enjoyment is not enough, you want soul happiness. When you get frustrated with the happiness in heaven, you want liberation. That's how people continue, right? But here, Prabhupada is saying a pure devotee is not interested in any of this. He's not interested in happiness here, happiness in Swarga, happiness in liberation. And we have songs of so many great acharyas who sing in this mode that, my dear Krishna, now they have attained you, I don't need anything else. And Prabhupada is giving a simple example. As a government servant in the material world, as a government servant is always the same, either in office or at home. So a devotee has nothing to do with anything material, for he is continuously engaged in the service of the Lord. So a government servant, even when he is at home, he is still a government servant. So similarly, a pure devotee, whether he is in the spiritual world or in the material world, he is a devotee only. Spiritual world also devotee, material world also devotee. So that means, just like a government servant at home or office is valued, similarly a devotee of Krishna at home or at office, whether he is there or here, he has a lot of value in life. So in this way, one should be very eager to take association of a pure devotee. And a pure devotee is called Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya. And Prabhupada says, just opposite to that, is a materialist, Yoshit Sangi Sangasya. One who is very much attached to women and things like that. One should stay away from that association. And one should seek the association of pure devotees. So the association of pure devotees can take us to the spiritual world. The association of materialists can take us down in the material world. So we all have a choice whose association we want to remain. Next 14. Ko nama tripye drasavit kataya mahatmai kanta parayanasya nantam gunanam agunasya jagmu Yogeshwaraye Bhavapadma Mukhya. So, here it says, Ko nama tripye drasavit kataya. Who can be satisfied by hearing the katha of Lord Krishna? Why? Rasavit kataya. So, Prabhupada says here, we are all seeking enjoyment in this world. How is the soul defined in the Vedas? Anandamayo Bhyasa. We are pleasure seeking. The soul is pleasure seeking. And we are seeking rasa. Rasa means juice, nectar, relationships. Right? That's what rasa is. But in this world, there is no rasa. The things in this world, then it's all jada rasa. Right? It gives you happiness and then it gives you misery. But only Krishna is rasavit. One of the definition of Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is rasu vayasa. Akhila Rasamrita Murti. Krishna is embodiment of all rasa. So if you want to experience that real nectar, that real juice, that real ananda that we are looking for, we can get it only in connection with Krishna. So therefore it says, Konama tripye drasavit kathaya. Who is a person who has been satisfied by hearing about Krishna? That means anyone who hears about Krishna, we want to hear more and more. And then it says, Mahattamai Kanta Parayanasya Nantam Gunanam Agunasya Jagmor. So here it says, even what to speak of ordinary people, even great personalities like Bhava Padma Mukhya. Bhava is Brahma. Bhava is Shiva, Padma is Brahma. Even Brahma, Shiva and such people cannot understand Krishna's glories fully. Even such great people, what is Brahma doing? Brahma is glorifying Krishna, Shiva is glorifying Krishna. Even such personalities are not able to understand Krishna fully. So then, that means the idea is that Krishna is so great that even the greatest personalities are hearing about Krishna, they taking shelter of Krishna. So therefore, we should all follow in their footsteps if we want to actually seek that eternal bliss. And Prabhupada writes in the purport, there's a very beautiful shloka in the Padma Puran. Ramante yogino anante satyananda chidatmani. So what it means, yogis, those who are pure devotees, they want unlimited happiness. Satyananda. Ramante yogino anante satyananda chidatmani. So ananda, we are all seeking bliss. But the yogis, pure devotees, what kind of bliss they want? They want bliss that is truthful, satya, eternal bliss, and satya, anante, unlimited bliss and eternal, truthful bliss. So if you want to experience that bliss cannot be experienced by things in this world. One has to experience that connection with Krishna. And how do you experience that connection with Krishna? By hearing about Krishna more and more. So the sages are saying that, so basically Sutta Goswami, why the sages are saying this? Because Sutta Goswami wants to end the discussion. But the sages are saying, now only our appetites have increased now. You have kindled our appetite, please don't stop here. We want to hear about Krishna more and more. Text 15. Tanno bhavan vai bhagavad pradhano mahatamaikanta parayanasya hare udharam charitam vishuddham shushu satam no vidnot vidvan. So, you see the words, in the previous words also, this words also. The word, this word that's repeating, that comes 2-3 times in this particular chapter. Mahatamaikanta parayanasya. So here, if you see the word to word, Mahatama, Mahat is great. Tama is greatest of greats. The greatest of greats, what they do? Ekanta parayanasya. They exclusively take shelter of Krishna. Ekanta parayanasya hare. They take shelter of Krishna. If you remember the particular chapter when we discussed about the Pandavas' entire timeline, there also we saw the same thing. We were discussing, the same words were coming there. Kunti Maharani, when Kunti was described, when the Pandavas were described, when Draupadi was described, everywhere the word was Ekanta Ashraya. All these people have taken exclusive shelter of Krishna. So here it says, so we saw in this particular canto, we are towards the end of this canto, we are seeing Kunti, the Pandavas, Draupadi, Bhishma, Narada, all these great personalities, Mahatama, the greatest of the great, they have all taken shelter of Krishna. And the previous verse we have seen, Brahma, Shiva, even they have taken shelter of Krishna. So therefore, O Sutta Goswami, you are learned and pure devotee of the Lord. And why Sutta Goswami is considered to be learned? Because Sutta Goswami has taken Krishna as his ultimate shelter. So therefore, please describe to us the pastimes of Krishna. And Krishna's pastimes are called Charitam Vishuddham. Vishuddham means transcendental. Pure pastimes of Krishna, we are very, very eager to hear. And Prabhupada is mentioning here the same point that I had mentioned, that this kind of exchange between audience who's very, very sincere and a speaker who's very, very sincere and in parampara, in this combination there can be a perfect exchange of Krishna Katha. So Prabhupada is saying, the last sentence I'm reading, they can do so because the speaker is not Bhagavat Pradhan and the audience is not Shushru Satam. Prabhupada here is speaking about Bhagavat Kathas. If you know in India, there is a culture of Bhagavat Kathas, people come together. But Prabhupada is saying, in that Bhagavat Katha, the speaker himself is not Bhagavata Pradhan. He is not speaking for the pleasure of Krishna, he has some other agenda. And the audience himself, they are not sincere. They are coming for some spiritual entertainment. Prabhupada is saying, when this combination of a pure devotee and a sincere student is there, who wants to hear everything very systematically, they can be a great combination. Text 16. सवै महाभागवत परीक्षित येनापवर्गाख्यम् अभद्र बुद्धि ज्ञानेन वैयासकी शब्दितेन भेजे खगेन्द्र ध्वजपादमूलम्. So Sutta Goswami, after glorifying the sages of Naimisharanya, after glorifying Sutta Goswami, after showing their eagerness to hear more, they tell Sutta Goswami, please describe about Parikshit. And who is Parikshit? Mahabhagavatam Parikshit. Parikshit is also a great devotee. And now they want to hear how Parikshit attained the lotus feet of Krishna. Yenapavargakyam abhadra buddhi. Parikshit Maharaj had pure intelligence. So how he attained the lotus feet of Krishna, and what are the subjects that he heard from Shukdev Goswami, Vaiyasaki Shabdena. We want to hear this. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that among transcendentalists, those on the spiritual path, generally there is a controversy. Controversy means there is a debate, difference of opinion. There are two people, personalists and the impersonalists. Yeah, devotees and the impersonalists. So Prabhupada writes here that Parikshit Maharaj, here the word is apavarga, yena pavargakyam, right? So apavarga means liberation, right? So what is liberation? Apavarga, right? You know this, I think I have explained this before, right? Pavarga, liberation is apavarga. So Parikshit got liberation. So someone may say Parikshit got liberation, matlab he merged into Brahma Jyoti. But here it says, Beje Kagendra Dvajapad Moolam. Parikshit attained the lotus feet of Krishna. So Prabhupada is saying a Mahabhagavat is one who has actually attained the understanding that Krishna, the Supreme Lord, has a form. And Prabhupada mentioned something very interesting. If you study scriptures, you will find a lot of cases where impersonalist has become a devotee. Like Shukdev Goswami himself, he was an impersonalist, but when he understood about Krishna's form and qualities, pastimes, he became a devotee. But Prabhupada says there is no example of a devotee becoming an impersonalist. No one instance there. But the other way, there are a lot of instances. So therefore, Parikshit Maharaj very intelligently took shelter of Krishna, heard from Shukdev Goswami, and attained Krishna's abode. Text 17. Tanna param punyam asamvritanam Akyanam atyadbhuta yoga nishtam Akyai ananta charitopapannam Parikshitam bhagavata abhiramam. So they say, Akyahi, we are very eager, Ananta Charitopapannam, we are very eager to hear the narrations of Krishna, whose name is Ananta. Please describe to us the unlimited pastimes of Krishna. And why they want to hear Krishna Katha? Tanna param punyam asamritanam. Because Krishna's pastimes are param, transcendental. And punyam, by hearing Krishna's pastimes, we become purified. So two adjectives to describe Krishna Leela, purifying and supreme, the highest pastimes. So therefore, these pastimes are dear to whom? Parikshita Bhagavata Abhiramam. So pastimes of Krishna are very dear to pure devotees of Krishna. So therefore they want to hear. So Prabhupada writes here, what was spoken to Parikshit and what is dear to devotees is what SRIMAD Bhagavatam. What was spoken to Parikshit? Bhagavatam. And what is dear to devotees? What they want to hear? Bhagavatam. So therefore Bhagavatam is a subject matter that is supreme, purifying and meant for devotees who want to attain Krishna. Text 18. I'll just do another 2-3 verses and then we'll stop it. Okay. Let's complete this section. Text 18. So now the sages have responded. So the Goswami basically said that I've explained everything. But the sages are not happy. Sages are, we have come here to hear full, why shortcut? Please describe in detail. We have a lot of time with us. and now our appetite is kindled. Please describe in detail. We want to hear everything about Parikshit fully. Text 18. Now, after hearing the response of the sages, Sutta Goswami responds. Sutta Vacha Aho Vayam Janma Brito Dhyahamsa Vrittyanuvrittyapi Viloma Jata Doshkulyamadim Vidunoti Shigram Mahatmanam Abhidhana Yoga. See the humility of Sutta Goswami. Sutta Goswami is saying, oh my dear Lord, I am born in Viloma Jata. I am born in a mixed caste. Sutta Goswami was not a Brahmana. Sutta basically means not a very high caste. It's a mixed caste. Viloma is a mixed caste. Husband, mother and father, mixed caste. So he's saying, I am not born in a high caste, right? And still, we are promoted to such a great level. So the sages are glorifying Sutta Goswami. Oh, you are like God sent. You are like association with you is like greater than liberation, greater than this. Now Sutta Goswami is not feeling proud about it. Sutta Goswami is saying, oh, I am like the most fallen person, but still I am placed on such a great level. I am placed on this elevated level. Why? What is his qualification? Birth is not his qualification. Personally, he feels he is not qualified. But then he says, Doshkulyam Adim Vidunoti Shigram Mahatmanam Abhidhana Yoga. So even though I had a lot of defects through my birth and through my conditionings, but because I have served and associated with great souls, therefore I am elevated to this position. Because service to great souls can even remove disqualifications of your birth without any delay. So this is the point that Prabhupada, very, very, very important point. The first point is, someone may be doing the role of a speaker or a guru, whatever, but in his heart of heart, he knows that he is not perfect, right? Or he knows that, it's only because of Krishna's mercy or Guru's mercy that he is able to do that. Prabhupada was giving a class, the same mood. Prabhupada was giving a class in America somewhere. In those days, there would be like a elevated Vyasasan for Prabhupada on the stage there, and people fanning Prabhupada. It was a big audience, like a Kala Academy program, basically. So now American people are very challenging. So and Prabhupada was giving a class, and Prabhupada was explaining three kinds of people: first class, second class, third class. So Prabhupada's idea was first class means someone who's a pure devotee, third class means not even a devotee, like that. So one guy, American guy, put up his hand in front of everyone. He's asking Prabhupada, so you're sitting on that big seat, people are fanning you. You think you are first class? And Prabhupada immediately put his head down, and Prabhupada said, no, I am fourth class. I am the servant of the three classes. So this is the mood. Sutta Goswami, first of all, the first quality is that he is very, very humble. And then he is giving credit to whom? He is giving credit to his previous acharyas. Because I am able to do this because I am associated with great souls. Prabhupada would often say that I don't have any qualification, I am just repeating what my Guru has said. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, because of higher association like Sri Shukadeva Goswami and the sages of Naimisharanya, certainly the disqualification of inferior birth was lost off. So Sutta Goswami, when he says that I have got this opportunity to speak because of association with great souls, what does it mean? Prabhupada explains here. Sutta Goswami got association of Shukadeva Goswami. He was a great soul. And Sutta Goswami also feels that I am getting association of all these sages who are also great souls. So the sages are glorifying Sutta Goswami that you are the great soul, you have come to liberate us. But Sutta Goswami is thinking that Krishna has sent all of you all to give your association to me. That's the mood. So in this way, Sutta Goswami feels that I am doubly qualified. Why doubly qualified? I got association of my Guru, and now I am getting association of these devotees. So Prabhupada writes a very brilliant point here. So he had double association of great souls by hearing and preaching. It's a very beautiful point. So if you want double association, what you have to do? hear from great souls and preach to devotees. You get double association. And Prabhupada says, transcendental science has to be learned from authorities, and when preaches the science, it becomes more qualified. So, as devotees, both should go on simultaneously. We should be able to hear, and what we hear, we should be able to pass on. Then we become doubly qualified. So, in this way, Sutta Goswami, he's saying, I have a lower birth, but Krishna's mercy, Guru's mercy have been elevated. And Prabhupada is explaining here, this system, when people feel that in Vedic culture there was this caste system, right? People who were lower caste, they were not respected. But you see here, 5,000 years ago, it's not even like 100, 200 years ago, 5,000 years ago, these sages are sitting and hearing from Sutta Goswami, who didn't have a great caste, he didn't have a great birth. That's the idea. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Krishna himself, who came in Kali Yuga to start Sankirtan movement, whom did he make the Acharya of the holy name? He met Haridas Thakur, who was born in a Muslim family, the Acharya of the holy name. So this idea of birth has never been in consideration, even though that's important, but that's not the important factor. The important factor is if someone is very, very Krishna conscious. So Prabhupada is saying here, towards the end of this particular purport, Prabhupada is saying here that people in this world are very, very diseased. So therefore, it is very, very important that we preach Krishna consciousness. We spread the message of Bhagavatam more and more to purify the world of the mental disease. And Prabhupada is saying, especially Indians are meant to take this class scientifically and do the best kind of humanitarian work. Indians are actually meant to propagate this. Next 19. Kuta punar granato namatasya mahatamaikanta parayanasya yo anta shaktir bhagavan ananto mahat gunatvadyam anantamahu. Again we are seeing the same word repeating. Mahatamaikanta parayanasya. The greatest of the greats have taken exclusive shelter of Krishna. So they are saying, what is Sutta Goswami saying here? That even someone who is born in a low family, if he gets association of pure devotees, he can be elevated. So then he says, what to speak of those who under the direction of great devotees are constantly chanting the holy names of the Lord, who is unlimited. That means anyone who is constantly chanting the unlimited glories of Krishna, all these defects of birth, everything can be just easily overcome. And Prabhupada in this particular purport, Prabhupada stresses the importance of chanting Krishna's holy names. So in Bhagavatam you will have this constant glorification of Krishna's holy name. Kuta punar granato namatasya. So the chanting of the holy names is so powerful that whatever disqualification you have can be completely vanquished. Text 20. Etavatalam nanushvujitena punerasamya tinashayanasya hitvetaran partayato vibhuti yasyangri renum jusatena vishnu. So Sutta Goswami says here, a very beautiful words. So, basically it says, now, etavalam nanu shuchitena guner asamya nati shayanasya. So it is ascertained that Krishna is unlimited. The word is Ananta. Krishna is Ananta. Krishna is unlimited, and there is no one equal to Krishna and no one greater than Krishna. So you see here, Guner Asamya Anati Shayanasya. So that means there is no one equal to Krishna and no one greater than Krishna. So therefore, even great demigods, what they do, even such great demigods, they render service to Krishna's lotus feet. And here it says that even great demigods render service to get favor of Lakshmi. And what does Lakshmi do? Lakshmi is rendering service constantly to Krishna's lotus feet. So this is the whole idea. This is the whole idea of Srimad Bhagavatam, that greatest of the greats have taken exclusive shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Lakshmi, whose favor everyone wants, whose lotus feet Lakshmi has taken shelter of? Krishna's lotus feet. Brahmaji, whose lotus feet Brahmaji takes shelter of? Krishna's lotus feet. Shiva, practically all the great souls, like Shiva holds Ganga on his head. What is Ganga? Ganga is water coming from Vishnu's feet. So the greatest of the great have taken shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. So Prabhupada says here, and in the next verse also, okay, we'll get the next verse, it's in connection with this verse, text 21. Atapi yatta tatpada Atapi yatpad nakavrashtam Jagat virincho parhatta aharambha Shesham punati anyatamo mukunda Om loke bhagavat padharta. So here, this is a very beautiful verse. It says, who can be worthy? Ko naam loke bhagavat padharta. Who can be worthy of the name Bhagavan other than Krishna? So the word Bhagavan, Supreme Lord, can only be applied to Krishna. Why? Because Brahmaji collected water that emanated from Krishna's lotus feet. When Lord comes as Vaman Dev, and Vaman Dev, he becomes very big, Urukrama, and his lotus feet's toenail touches the covering of the universe, and Ganga comes. So now, first Charnamrit coming down. Like you have Charnamrit, what devotees do? Devotees don't catch it, right? So Brahmaji collected that water that coming down from the lotus feet of Krishna, and Shiva is holding on the head. So here it says, what does this mean? That means even Brahma and Shiva cannot be equated to Bhagavan. We saw the previous verse. No one can be equal or greater than Krishna. So that's the idea. So Prabhupada is saying the conception of many gods in Vedic scriptures is not authorized. So therefore, when you speak about Shiva and Brahma, all the other demigods are lower than them only, right? Indra and Chandra are not on the level of Shiva and Brahma, they are the greatest. But even such personalities, Shiva, Brahma, Lakshmi, they are like the greatest. All these personalities take shelter of Krishna. One time, it's there in my mind. One time we can do a Krishna Leela. Krishna stories in connection with demigods. If you see Krishna Leela, 10th canto, we are in the first canto, we see 10th canto. Practically every demigod, when Krishna was there, everyone took shelter of Krishna. One time Lord Krishna goes to Yamlok. You know the story? Krishna goes to search the children of his guru, Sandipani Muni. So Krishna goes to Yamlok and blows his Shankh, Panchajanya. Yamraj comes trembling and falls at the feet of Krishna. What do you want, my dear Lord? And you find this Varuna, Indra, Govardhan Leela. Practically every demigod has taken shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. So that's the idea, that this word Bhagavan can be only applied to Krishna. Can you do 2 more verses? I'm sorry. For the next week we'll complete the chapter. We'll just do 2 more. Okay. We have heard so much about appetite, so let's do 2 more. Text 22. Yatra nurutta sahasaiva dhira Yogopaya dehadishu sangamudvam Vrajanti tat paramahamsya antyam Yasmin ahimso pashama swadharma Yatranurutta sahasaiva dhira. So, Anurutta is firmly attached. So, those devotees were firmly attached to Krishna. Such people are dhira, self-controlled. And for such people, vyopayas dehadishu sangabodham. For such devotees who are attached to Krishna, they can very easily give up all attachments to their body, gross body and subtle body. And such people, vrajanti tat paramahamsyam antyam. And such people can attain that order of renunciation and attain the spiritual world. So, Prabhupada writes here that in this world, detachment is very, very difficult. Right? But the principle of detachment is explained very simply here. What is the principle of detachment? Yatra anurakta. When you are attached to Krishna, detachment happens automatically. You don't have to separately endure it. Towards the beginning of this canto, first canto, second chapter, there is this verse. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayat Ayatukam. Anyone who is doing bhakti to Krishna, Vasudeve Bhagavati, Jnanam and Vairagya come automatically. So the example of Parikshit, because Parikshit was attached to Krishna, he had a higher taste in life. So when he got the news that he is getting rid of this world and is going to the spiritual world, he was very, very happy. It's simple, na? When you know that your next house is better than this house, will you have any problem giving up this house? No problem, no? Your better house is, next house is ready. You are like confident. Why people become fearful when you don't know what's going to happen next? Parikshit was super confident that I'm entering into the spiritual world. That place is much better than this material world. So what is there for me to worry? So he was a completely detached. 623, the last verse for today, not this chapter, last verse for today. Aham niprishto ramyano bhavadbhir achaksha atma vagamo yatra yaman nabha patanti atma samam patrinas tata samam vishnu gatim vipaschita. So in this way, Sutta Goswami basically he expresses his humility that I am not at all qualified, but the mercy of devotees that I am getting this position to speak. And then Sutta Goswami says, what you all have asked is perfectly correct, because all the greatest personalities, they have heard about Krishna, they have taken shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. So therefore, let us follow in their footsteps. And then here Sutta Goswami is concluding before he begins Parikshit Maharaj. So from the next verse on, 24 on, he will actually get into the story of Parikshit's curse. But here he says, O sages who are as good as powerful and pure as the sun. So Sutta Goswami is now glorifying the sages. You are not glorifying me, but I am like most fallen. You all are great. Right? You all are very special people, you all are great. So now because you have asked me to describe, I will describe. But how much? He says, as far as my knowledge is, I will describe. Atma Vagamaha. As far as my knowledge, I will tell. And then he gives a very brilliant example. He says, the sky is unlimited. Right? There's no limit to the sky. Every bird has its own level of flight. Right? A pigeon, a crow, an eagle, higher level. Right? There may be birds that are higher than that. So in this way, Sutta Goswami says, Krishna Leela is Ananta. We have heard this word Ananta come many times in these verses. Krishna Leela is Ananta. So he says, according to my level of flight, my knowledge, my realization, I will speak. So he's expressing a lot of humility in this also. He's not saying that I will tell you everything about Krishna, because you can't tell everything about Krishna. You can't make that statement. So whatever is my capacity, I will speak. Similarly, it's important for all of us. Sutta Goswami had his level, Shukdev Goswami had his level. We may have some other level, but it's important for us that we take this flight towards the sky of Krishna. So we'll stop at this point. From text 24 is Ekada Dhanurudhyam. He starts the story that one time Parikshit goes on a hunting, and what happens? We'll continue next time. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Very much. Anyone has any questions, any comments?